Herzlich willkommen bei der nächsten Folge Kerbal Space Program 2. So, wir machen weiter im Trainingsstation. Wir haben die zwei letzten Sachen. Und dann sind wir hier mal durch und können die richtigen Missionen mal starten. So, auf geht's. Umlaufbahn. Das fängt ja schon wieder gut an mit meinem Deutsch. Umlaufbahnen sind komisch. So, dann let's go. Probieren wir das aus, trainieren wir das mal. Wichtig, wichtig, wichtig. Umso schlauer stelle ich mich dann im gesamten Let's Play dann an.
Orbits are weird. Remember your orbiting baseball? What if you wanted to make its orbit higher? Well, it's a baseball, so grab your bat and try to hit the ball to a higher orbit. Your first thought might be to try to deflect the ball upwards. Unfortunately, hitting the ball upward bends its orbit so that it hits the ground before it can return to you. What you need to do is hit the ball in the direction it's already moving, adding to its already high velocity. Now that you've sped the ball up, why isn't it flying any higher? It just keeps whizzing by at the same height it always did. After all, I said that making it go faster would make it go higher. What gives? The ball is actually going higher, but it's going higher on the opposite side of the planet from where you're standing. You've raised its orbit, and you've learned the first lesson of orbital maneuvering. Your actions affect the opposite side of your orbit. Weird, huh? So your ball is moving faster, but it's still passing you at the same height. How do you get its orbit higher on this side of the planet? Now that you know how changes in velocity affect the other side of your orbit, you've got all you need. By adding velocity to the ball at the highest point in its orbit, you raise the lowest point in its orbit and make it circular again.
Ich liebe die Animationen, die sind so schön. Das ist so witzig. Okay, weiter geht's. Jetzt probieren wir es mal aus.
An equatorial orbit is good, but if you want to travel beyond Kerbin, you will need to manipulate your orbit. Let's start with something simple, expanding an orbit. We do that by increasing the value of our apoapsis. Let's get a good view.
Okay, gehen wir mal.
Remember how you circularized your orbit by increasing your forward? Now that we're pointed the right way, we can increase the throttle and watch our orbit expand.
Ja, gehen wir gleich auf 100%.
Cut the throttle. If you overdo it, you'll leave Kerbin's orbit nice. That maneuver raised our orbit on the other side of Kerbin, so we will enter high orbit there. Waiting to reach a specific point can be as eventful as watching the neon stripes on your rover dry. The paint job will be worth it, but isn't it better to rush to the end? Skip ahead to the good stuff using a time warp.
Okay. Ich will nicht zu viel geben, weil ansonsten überspringen wir wieder den kompletten Punkt. So, komm. Bisschen. Oder er passiert sogar jetzt automatisch. Jetzt hat er.
Like I said earlier, the highest point of our orbit is called the apoapsis. The lowest point of our orbit is known as the periapsis. By default, your camera is focused on your vessel, so if you can't see either of these points, adjust your camera.
Okay.
Scroll the middle mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Double-click an object to center your camera on it. Excellent! You can time warp to any position on your trajectory by selecting a point on your vehicle's current path and then selecting time warp to point.
Okay. Macht das automatisch? Super. Perfekt. Müssen wir auch wissen.
Now you're way up in the sky, so high that if you circularize your orbit now, you'll be in high orbit. Wow, the black starry void looks so small from here.
Es ist jetzt nicht so, wenn ich jetzt Gas gebe, geht hier die nächste Seite nach oben, oder? Ich bin hier bei 3,2. Bei 9,9. Jetzt müsste es eigentlich gleich sein. Jetzt müssen wir aber schon ziemlich weit weg sein, oder? Eigentlich noch überhaupt nicht. Das schaut doch so nah aus. Wahnsinn. Okay.
From command pods to space probe cores, a lot of critical rocket parts use electric charge. You'll want to design your rocket so it can generate and store EC.
Im Kommandokapsel bis hin zu Raumsonderkern verwenden viele wichtige Raketen elektrische Strom. Das ist eine Rakete so groß, dass es erzeugen, also Strom erzeugen und speichern kann. Okay.
Most rocket engines generate electric charge while active, but we'll still need a way to keep our batteries full while coasting between maneuvers.
Gleich. Ja, das ist klar.
Solar panels convert Kerbal's light into EC for our rockets. Small solar panels can just be placed, but large solar panels are delicate and must only be deployed once we're out of the atmosphere. I've equipped this rocket with 2 deployable solar panels.
Seine Handkugeln
Here's a
macht dich
hand
bereit.
crank. Get to work.
Okay.
Just kidding. There's a handy button that opens all of them with a single click. Give it a try. Great. The solar panels are now extended. Light tracking solar panels only rotate on one axis, so we may need to reorient our ship to point them fully at the sun. Let's make sure the panels are getting direct sunlight by rolling our ship a little bit.
Also, wir müssen jetzt so ausrichten, dass es Richtung Sonne zeigt. Also so, oder wie? Oder?
Excellent. The solar panels are soaking up all of those sweet photons and giving our rocket some much
Ja, die
needed
drehen
EC.
sich.
You can see the
Also.
status of any solar panel within the part manager in the electrical parts menu. You can either access the app directly by clicking the app button, or you can right-click a part to directly access it in the part manager.
Okay.
Getting EC is one thing, and storing it is another. Most command pods have a small battery, but many missions will call for additional EC storage. When we're traveling far from the sun or going to the dark side of a planet, more batteries means more peace of mind.
Mhm. Das hört sich so geil an. Ich sehe die Rakete gar nicht mehr. So weit rausgezoomt. Boah, ist das ein schönes Bild. Oh. Oh, ist das schön, ist das schön, ist das schön. Okay, weiter.
At some point, the crew will run out of snacks. Did you know a Kerbal is 99.9% more likely to crash when hungry? That's when it's time to head back down to Kerbin, a planet known for its plentiful snack options. First, let's get a better view for this Remember how we burned prograde to raise our orbit? To lower our orbit, we burn in the opposite direction, retrograde. SAS can really help us out here. So let's turn that on. Now, flip retrograde, the opposite direction. All right, the rocket is aligned to retrograde. Increase the throttle and burn until our trajectory is just past the atmosphere.
Das machen wir mal. 100%.
As we decelerate, watch what's happening to our periapsis. Once it enters the atmosphere, this rocket is on a path back to the ground. Don't ease off the throttle yet, though. We're going to keep burning until our trajectory intercepts the ground. This should give us... That's it! Let's stop our burn. Now that we're on a collision course with Kerbin, we need to turn that collision into something more survivable. This process of crashing without dying is called landing. Our upcoming stage will activate a decoupler, dropping the engine and exposing a very important heat shield. Why don't you do that now?
Wirf den Triebwerk ab, um... Ich will aber da nicht landen. Ich will nicht bei Nacht landen. Muss ich aber noch ein bisschen... Ticken Gas geben. Ich will gerne am Tag landen. Also... Spulen wir mal ein bisschen nach vorne. Okay. Ich hatte gerade schon Angst, dass er es einfach durch... So, und jetzt geben wir mal Gas. Ah ja, okay. Ich schätze mal, dass das schon vorbei ist. Das heißt, wir landen bei Nacht. Oder vielleicht... Oh. Wirst du jetzt gleich erfahren, okay. Das will ich aber gerne sehen. Oh. Umweltmüll. Katastrophe. Müssen wir einsammeln. Ach halt. Soundkulisse ist aber schon gut. Dann können wir vorspulen bis zu diesem Punkt. Müssen wir immer näher. Der schaut schon schön aus. Und wir werden immer schneller. Der schaut echt so schön aus. Wahnsinn. Okay, Fallschirm kann ich auch schon zünden. War vielleicht nicht gerade das Schlauste. Vielleicht nicht gerade das Schlauste. Oh, da hinten ist der Mond. Oder Mond. Achso, aussteigen tun wir jetzt mal nicht. Konnten wir nicht, aber von hier da. Nee, schade. Können wir anscheinend nicht. Wäre jetzt gerne in die Kapsel reingegangen, wie es da drin ausschaut. Aber vielleicht funktioniert es dann nach dem Tutorial. Sieh mal an, wir müssten jetzt gleich eigentlich... Sind wir so langsam, dass da überhaupt keine Hitze sich entwickelt, oder? Ist es noch wirklich einfach alles so vereinfacht? Okay. Habe ich schon geöffnet. Wir sind auf dem Weg nach unten gewesen. War nicht die Mission, aber ich wollte es einfach mal machen. So, jetzt machen wir gleich mal die letzte. Orbitaltransfer. Und das machen wir jetzt.
Orbital transfers. As you know, the faster you go, the higher your orbit gets. If you get moving fast enough, your orbit may cross the orbit of some other object, like a moon or a planet. The closest celestial body to Kerbin is the Mun. If you're looking for somewhere else to fly a rocket, the Mun is a good choice. The real trick to getting there is timing your departure so that the Mun captures your vehicle at its highest point. If you mistime your departure, you may miss the Mun entirely, which creates a lot of paperwork. Let's assume you've left at the right time and the Mun is there to meet you. As your vessel approaches the Mun, it enters a zone in which the Mun's gravitational influence on your orbit is stronger than Kerbin's. This zone is called the Mun's sphere of influence. You've had to go very quickly to escape Kerbin's gravity, much too fast for the Mun's low gravity to capture you. If you don't slow down, your vehicle will speed past the Mun and be flung farther into space. Remember what I said about paperwork? Once you're in the Mun's gravity well, the best way to slow down is to fire your engines backwards until your trajectory becomes a nice, stable orbit. Now you're a moon of the Mun! Ha!
Okay. Klingt logisch. Ob es so logisch ist, ich weiß es nicht. Aber probieren wir es einfach mal aus.
The mission today is to, drumroll please, intercept and orbit the Mun. To be captured by the Mun's gravity, our vessel must cross into the Mun's sphere of influence, or SOI, the zone in which its gravity is stronger than any other celestial body around it. We're going to create a maneuver plan to figure out when and how long we need to fire our engines to intercept the Mun.
Also Manöverplan gibt's auch.
Now here's a new trick. We can select any object as a target in map view. Targeting gives us useful information and enables new tools. Once we've targeted a celestial body or other object in space, our maneuver will provide closest pass and plane angle information. This can be very helpful for meeting up with someone or something in space. Right now, our camera is following our vessel as it orbits Kerbin. Let's adjust our camera until we can see the Mun.
Haben wir.
Right-click to target it.
Wählen wir die Kamera, bis wir den Mund sehen, nach dem Rechtsklicken. Ziel auswählen, habe ich ja. Achso, ich war zu schnell.
With two things in mind. First, the Mun is in motion. We can't aim our spacecraft where the Mun is right now. Instead, we have to aim where the Mun will be after our vehicle has coasted all the way from Kerbin. Second, remember how increasing velocity raises the opposite side of our orbit? Since we're placing this maneuver plan where we intend to start our burn, we should place it on the opposite side of Kerbin from where we intend to intercept the Mun. Placing a maneuver plan usually involves making a best guess, and then fiddling with the maneuver until you get an intercept. Fortunately, you've got a crack navigator with you today. By my calculations, we'll want to put our maneuver here.
Also dahin. Okay. Manöverplan.
Excellent. We've just created a maneuver plan. While we could find out if our departure timing is correct by just picking a direction and maxing the throttle, a maneuver plan tells us in advance how much delta V we'll need, how long we'll need to burn, and in what direction our vessel will need to point during the maneuver.
Okay.
Grab and pull the arrows to plan a burn along that direction. This maneuver is pretty simple. We want to burn prograde and expand our orbit.
Okay. Also. Ah, das war das Falsche.
Nice! That maneuver event towards the end of your trajectory is exactly what we're looking for. tells that if we execute this plan,
Ja,
we'll
fahren.
intercept the Mun.
Okay.
If a maneuver looks right, but we're not getting the intercept we expect, we can change the starting position of the maneuver by grabbing and dragging the middle of the maneuver plan along our orbit. It's very common to refine a maneuver plan by adjusting both the position of the maneuver and the direction of the planned burn.
Aha.
If we don't want to maneuver at all, we can delete the plan, either by right-clicking the gizmo and selecting delete, or through the burn timer.
Okay.
Maneuvers are invaluable when leaving Kerbal. Feel free to come back and practice anytime.
Okay. Okay. Manöverplan und so weiter. Okay. Das wird etwas kompliziert. Das wird ein bisschen dauern, bis ich mich da mal reingefuchst habe.
We've got a maneuver plan that intercepts the Mun. Now we just need to execute that maneuver and fly to the Mun ourselves.
Und das. Okay.
Whenever we have a maneuver plan, a burn timer will appear. The timer shows you how much time is left until we need to execute the maneuver. I've paused the simulation for a moment, so this number won't count down quite yet.
Okay. So, wie schaut das jetzt aus? Eintritt in Verlassen der Aha.
The timer also tells us how long we'll need to burn our engines at 100% throttle in order to complete the maneuver.
Das Manöver durchzuführen. Okay.
Now let's take a look at the nav ball. A new marker has joined our old prograde and retrograde markers. This is called a maneuver marker, and it shows us the orientation of our planned maneuver. We'll want to make sure that this marker is in the center of our nav ball during our maneuver burn. Luckily, we can aim. Now your vehicle is properly oriented. And through the magic of SAS and more math than I'd like to admit, our vessel is properly oriented. We're still far from our planned burn, so let's speed things up.
Muss ich die Sache etwas
While
beschleunigen.
we could rely on our reflexes to time warp at the perfect moment, a less stressful alternative is warping to a specific point in our orbit. See this button? Select it to warp automatically to the moment before our maneuver begins.
Die drei Sachen, die drei Haken sind kurz zum Manöver vorspulen. Okay.
Departure burn, here we come. Great! We've exited just before our maneuver burn, and I've paused the simulation once more.
Wenn es weitergeht, warte unbedingt, bis der Countdown abgelaufen ist. Dann geben wir maximal Schub, bis der Zündtimer abgelaufen ist.
Then we'll go full throttle until our burn timer reaches 0. Then cut the throttle. Okay, get ready to hit the throttle.
Ja. Wir haben noch 20 Sekunden. Da. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Watch the burn timer. We want to stop our burn once it reaches 0.
Haben wir gemacht. Das läuft jetzt mal noch 30 Sekunden, ne? Und gucken mal, was mit unserer Umlaufbahn jetzt gerade passiert. Wird auf jeden Fall um ein Vielfaches größer. Also, 9, 8, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Everything's looking great. Great work. You've successfully executed a maneuver, and now we're on our way to the Mun.
Schön. Okay. Wir können weitermachen, dass wir die Umlaufbahn vom Mond bekommen.
It's going to take a while to reach the Mun, but don't let the wait fool you. We're now moving faster than any Kerbal has ever flown before. When we enter the Mun's sphere of influence, we'll be going way too fast for the Mun's gravity to capture our vehicle. To orbit the Mun, we'll need to burn retrograde once we're inside its SOI, or sphere of influence. This will slow us down enough to keep us from being whipped into interplanetary space. Let's start by time warping until we're within the Mun's sphere of influence. That's the sphere within which the Mun is the primary gravitational influence on your vehicle. Let's get a little bolder with our time warp this time. Farewell, Kerbin. We'll miss you.
Oh, das ist aber gut. Wird er automatisch langsamer oder?
Welcome to the Mun's sphere of. Did you notice that
Normalerweise
we've got
nicht,
a
okay.
periapsis above the Mun, but no apoapsis? That's because we're going too fast to complete an orbit before sailing past the Mun. Don't worry, we have time to adjust. Our objective is to slow down enough so that both apoapsis and periapsis are within the Mun's sphere of influence.
Okay.
Remember the rule of orbital opposites. Because we want to lower your apoapsis, we'll need to place our maneuver plan at the periapsis. Let's get started. In order to reduce our apoapsis, we need to slow down by burning backwards, or retrograde. This is a little like deorbiting over Kerbin, but we're going to stop burning before our trajectory meets Mun dust.
Okay. Oh Gott, was da alles passiert, ha? Was da alles passiert, leckt mir.
Maneuver plan set. Next up, let's make sure we're pointed where we need to be.
Okay. Heißt Manöverplan
If
wieder
the maneuver is
ausrichten.
right
Okay.
and we're pointed in the right direction, now we need to time warp to the right position.
Das
And we're
machen
on our
wir.
way. Almost there. When the countdown reaches 0, throttle up to start your capture
Dann
burn.
wieder dasselbe. Countdown zu Ende. Vollgas geben. So. Wo ist der Mond? Ach da. Oha. Oha, oha, oha.
Keep burning until the burn timer reaches 0. Shut the engines now. We have an orbit.
Ja.
Fantastic. That was some fancy flying. Looks to me like you're about ready to try this for real.
Ja, echt ein Einsatz. Ja, was du nicht sagst. Ha? Sieht auch schon mal schön aus. Wie schaut jetzt die... Oh. Aber jetzt so stark abgebremst, dass ich jetzt hier runterfalle, oder wie? Nee, oder? Nein. Ich bin auf einen schönen normalen Orbit. Schön. Oh, wo ist der Mond? Ah, schaut das nicht schön aus? Schaut das nicht schön aus? Ui, 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 ui. Gut, Tutorial beenden. Jetzt haben wir eigentlich alle Tutorials. Das heißt, wir sind gut vorbereitet. Gefühlt. Ob es jetzt wirklich so ist, weiß ich es tatsächlich nicht. Ich habe Angst. Ich habe Angst. So, aber Tutorials sind fertig. Würde ich mal sagen, danke fürs Zuschauen, danke fürs dabei sein. Wir haben die Tutorials jetzt wirklich mal fertig. Und ab der nächsten Folge geht es dann richtig los. Jetzt wirklich richtig los. Heißt, seid gespannt. Wenn euch die Folgen gefallen, lasst doch gerne mal bitte einen Daumen nach oben da, um einfach zu zeigen, dass es euch gefällt. Und wenn ihr Verbesserungsvorschläge habt, schreibt es doch gerne in die Kommentare. Von dem her, danke fürs Zuschauen, danke fürs dabei sein. Ciao, ciao und bis zur nächsten Folge von Kerbal Space Program 2.